Hi everyone, this is Marvin making this little video on Maundy, Thursday afternoon, but wanting to go back to a sermon that I preached on Palm Sunday earlier and try to address the question, how many animals did Jesus ride into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday? So you may know the story of Palm Sunday. Jesus rides on a donkey, a foal, into Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover, and he's accompanied by his disciples, by the women who've been bankrolling his ministry, and by all the people that he has touched and whose lives he has changed in his ministry in Galilee. And all the gospel writers point to an Old Testament prophecy by the prophet Zechariah that's being fulfilled in his choice of riding a donkey into Jerusalem. The prophecy comes from Zechariah 9, verse 9. And the New Revised Standard Version says, "Rejoice greatly, O daughter Zion. Shout aloud, O daughter Jerusalem. See, your king comes to you. Triumphant and victorious is he, humble and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." Now, Mark, Luke, and John say that he was riding a donkey into Jerusalem, but Matthew says that he got hold of a donkey and a colt and rode them into Jerusalem. And most scholars think that this is because Matthew doesn't understand Old Testament poetry or this particular poetic, prophetic passage. Here, where it says humble and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey, colt and foal kind of modify or describe the particular kind of donkey that the prophet envisions the king coming in on. But Matthew, instead of understanding the second line to modify the first, understands it to be two different animals. And so, according to Matthew, Jesus rides two different animals into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. Whenever I come across Matthew's account of Palm Sunday, I'm reminded of when I was a kid. I entered a contest to win tickets to the circus. You had to draw a picture of the circus, and the winning picture, you got tickets to the circus. And so my picture was chosen as a winner, probably because I was the only one who entered the contest. But anyway, we got front row seats to watch the circus. It was great. And the picture that I drew was of an acrobat standing on top of a horse with his hands up, riding a horse bareback, not in the saddle, but just riding him on his feet. And whenever I read Matthew's story, I think maybe that's how Jesus went in to Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, but even more acrobatic, with one foot on the donkey and the other foot on the foal, and he's just kind of balancing. I don't know, but anyway, I share all this because I read an interesting take on this little conundrum by my New Testament professor from seminary, Stan Saunders. It's not a new commentary that he wrote on this passage. I think he published it at a workingpreacher.com, a website, back in maybe 2015. But he says that Matthew is emphatic that Jesus rides a colt and a donkey, not because he misunderstands the prophecy, but because he wants to make a literary and theological point. He wants to say that Jesus riding a donkey is humble, but he also wants to say that Jesus riding a colt or a young horse that one might think will grow up to become trained to be a war horse is also a mighty and powerful king. And so Jesus exercises power through humility. He's the king of Israel. He's the king of the universe, and yet that power of him is manifested in humility. So I just share that all with you, and I want to leave you with a question. Have you ever known someone whose strength was manifested in humility? Or have you ever seen an example of humility that was not just humiliation or meekness or being a wallflower or a doormat, but was really truly an example of power and strength? If you can think of an example, email me, mlindsay@haddonfieldpres.org. or use the comment feature wherever you see this on social media to share an example. So that's a little bit from the cutting room floor from Palm Sunday. Thanks for listening, and worship with us this Holy Week. You can find the times on our website, haddonfieldpres.org. Take care, and God bless.